Hi everybody, welcome to J&S Farms. And today I thought I would do a video for you on how I start my baby goats on a bottle. These guys are 3 days old now, and my girls have decided to name them Batman and Robin. They say that they look like they're wearing little masks, so Batman and Robin it is. Now, if you are getting these from somebody else, you need to make sure you ask if they've had their colostrum. That's really important because the colostrum is what gives them their antibodies for their immune system. And if they don't get it, they usually will have pretty weakened immune systems and get sick on you pretty easily. So you want to make sure that they've had that first milk, which is the colostrum. Now, if they've been on mama and you're switching them over to a nipple, sometimes that can be pretty difficult. That old rubber nipple just isn't the same, and they don't like it usually. So sometimes what I'll do is I will go ahead and I'll tickle the end of their nose with my finger and let them kind of start sucking on that for a few seconds. And then switch them right over to the nipple. And normally, once that sucking instinct kicks in, they generally will tend to not care what they're nursing on as long as it's giving them something to eat. Now, I'm not saying that works every time, but that usually works pretty good for me. Tubing is a last resort, but sometimes it's necessary because you got to make sure that they get a little something in their tummy. If you've worked with them and they're just not cooperating and they're getting weak and they just need something in their tummy, you definitely want to make sure that they do get something, because they can go downhill pretty quick if they don't get enough to eat. Okay, now when you're switching them over, you want to make sure that you don't let them overeat. They may act like they're starving, but they're not. As long as you know that they've had enough, it's okay for them to want to nurse more. And if you do overfeed them, it could give them scours, and it'll give them a little upset stomach, and sometimes that's not good. And usually scours is fatal to little guys like that. Now, if you get right on it and treat it right away, you can have pretty good success with it, though. Treating it. All right. For the first 2 days, after you know that they've had their colostrum, for the first 2 days, you're going to want to offer them 2 to 3 ounces of milk per feeding every 2 to 3 hours. Day 3 and 4, you want to offer them 3 to 4 ounces per feeding every 3 hours. Day 5 through 7, normally I will offer them 6 ounces per feeding every 3 hours. And then normally from day 8 to 14, I'll offer them 8 ounces per feeding every 4 hours. Now, if they don't eat at all, that's okay. They'll get what they want, but normally little goats will suck down whatever you offer them. And then I just gradually step it up from there until they're eating 12 ounces per feeding 3 times a day. Now, I'll do that usually for about the next 3 months. And then I'll start to step them down after that, because they don't need the milk anymore. They're eating good on their own, and they're usually doing pretty good. Now, if you don't notice them eating on their own and drinking on their own and doing good on their own, then by all means keep them on the bottle a little bit longer if you think that they need it. But normally 3 months is usually what I do. When I go to step them down, usually what I'll do is I will give them 2 bottles a day for a week and a half or so, and then 1 bottle a day for a week. And then after that, they're done. They don't get any more milk any more milk out of their bottle. Now, when you first get them home, the best thing that you can give them is goat's milk. Now, my friend that I got them from, she sent me home with a gallon of goat's milk because my goats are not in milk right now. And they will be switched over to cow's milk because that's what I have the most of. My Jersey cow is giving more than enough milk for the 2 calves she has on her and us. And I just have more milk than I know what to do with, so they're going to get switched over to cow's milk. Now it needs to be whole milk, not 2%. Whole milk. It's very important that it's whole milk. Okay, now when I switch them over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the example of a 4-ounce feeding. So when I go to switch them over, 3 ounce, the first time I do it, 3 ounces will be the goat's milk and 1 ounce will be the cow's milk. I'll do that for a day, and then the next day I will do half and half. Half cow's milk, half goat's milk. Do that for a day, and then the next day I will do a 1/4 ounce, or 1 ounce of goat's milk and 3 ounces of cow's milk. And then after that, the next day after that, you can just give them straight cow's milk. And that gives their little rumen and their intestines time to adjust to a new kind of milk, and it usually won't upset their stomachs. Now, however many ounces you're giving them, just adjust it accordingly. And you want to do it slow. Like I said, you don't want to upset their little tummies. And then normally in the first week, you want to make sure there's some hay and some water kind of available to them. They won't eat it, but they'll nibble on it. And their saliva and stuff, they'll kind of pick up the enzymes from the hay, and that'll kind of give their rumen a little kickstart, getting it ready for ingesting the solids and things like that. So just make it available for them. And then they may also nibble on dirt. That's okay. It's got some. It contains bacteria that'll help their immune systems later on. So that's okay if they start nibbling on some dirt or some hay. It's normal. And I was going to show you. I just fed these guys, so they're out here taking a nap in the sun. And it's good to get them outside and in the sun. It's good for them. Soaking up some vitamin D. Okay, let's see. I just fed them, so their bottle's still out here. I use this nipple for them. You can get it at Tractor Supply or Orscheln's or any feed store, really. Since they're so small, I decided to go with this nipple. I prefer the black nipples that slide over the tops of these. They're just sturdier, and I just prefer them. But their mouths are so small that this nipple is the one I decided to go with. And it just screws on to a Mountain Dew bottle. And the other ones just slide over. But when they're brand new, it's kind of a pain in the butt to get them on. You really got to get them good and stretched out. And the way I do that is I put them in really, really hot water and put them on the top of this and then let them cool. That really helps with getting them on and off of the bottles when they're brand new. And then once they're broken, it's pretty easy to get them on and off. But anyway, aren't these just little darlings? They are so cute. I think he's getting hot. I'm gonna have to get him out of the sun. But anyway, they've been out here for about 20 minutes, so that's plenty of yard time. They were out here playing and chasing me around. So anyway, well, that's kind of how I start my babies. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I hope I didn't leave anything out. But anyway, they are doing really well. Mr. Batman, which is this little guy here, he's been a little bit more difficult to start on the nipple. But Robin, the one with the little blaze there, he's kind of been my champion. He's been really good about getting on that nipple and nursing away. So they're all different. The last batch of baby goats I had, oh my goodness, both of them were horrible to train to a nipple. It was a fight with them. These guys, it's been pretty easy so far, thank goodness. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a good day and take care. Bye.